Rest in peace, John McCain. Died at 81 years of age. What I can say about John McCain was that I felt he was misguided in terms of, wanting to go to every war, and I guess he felt that way because he was a military veteran. And when he probably took the military-industrial complex donations, he felt that it was for the better of the country. I felt he was misguided. I have no reason to call a man like that crooked when he told a McCain supporter during the rally that no, Obama's not a bad man, he's a good man and all of this. He represented himself with a lot of class during the campaign in 2008, and genuinely John McCain is a good man. And he warned us right now about the biggest geopolitical threat, which is Vladimir Putin wanting to exert dominance and influence over the West. And in this video, I break down a traitor, Rand Paul, who has now exposed himself as not an outsider, but a complete shill of the establishment right in front of our own eyes. Now, McCain died at 81 years of age. And what is significant about that was that McCain was right about in gematria equals 81. McCain was completely right about the Russian Federation in Putin's attempts to influence the election and Putin's plans to invade the West so he can create a greater Slavic state. John McCain warned us about this compromised puppet in the White House because Senator McCain was right. He was right about the Russian Federation. He was right about Vladimir Putin being the greatest geopolitical threat in the world. He was right about President Donald John Trump, 96. It is knowledge that equals 96. And Senator John Sidney McCain was right. Now, this is the past tense. The 117th Congress would begin at 2023. More information is going to come to light at that time. Even more information, people, is going to come to light when we're past Donald Trump's presidency in 2020. Because John McCain was right about Putin. How was he right about Putin? Was that Trump is his puppet right now. He could not obtain a loan from a U.S. bank. He was doing business with Russia. He was completely beholden to Russian oligarchs in the Russian government. Don Jr., all of our business was with Russia. Take a lot of Russian money. And Donald Trump was like, yes, there was a meeting to dig dirt about Vladimir Putin, but I knew nothing about it. It was all Donald Trump Jr. He threw his son under the bus. There. It is Trumpski that equals 127. He was right about Putin. He was right about the emperor with no clothes. Trumpski equals 37. It is World War III that equals 37. And funny enough, Rand Paul, it is Rand in gematria that equals 37. John McCain was right about Vladimir Putin. Well, what was he right about him? Was that he is going to be the guy that is going to be the key catalyst of World War III. Equals 170 in gematria. John McCain's warning about Russia. Rand Paul suddenly is so sympathetic to Russia. And his idol, Ayn Rand, named after Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is also from, you guessed it, Russia. So we have a shill and we have an agent who supports libertarian policy so he can help his wealthy donors. And Russia was funneling money to the NRA. I'm sure Rand Paul takes a lot of money from the NRA. Article will be linked in the description tab about that. He was right. John McCain was right, like I said, about Russia. His warning about Russia that will come long after his death, that the election was rigged for Trump. Collusion with Russia would be exposed about that time. Now, John McCain warned America about, in gematria equals 120, about what? About collusion. Collusion in New York, because New York equals 39 in gematria. This is what it's about. The 45th president, it is John McCain. That equals 45, the significance of him and his warnings about Donald Trump, about Putin's plans to exert influence over the rest, over the West, and that is what Vladimir Putin is doing with his modern-day Antros, with his invasion of Crimea and his attempts to overtake Ukraine and its surrounding neighbors. Agent Trump, Rand Paulsky, his Russian name equals 45, interesting enough. Suddenly, his defenses of Donald Trump have come after the Helsinki summit. After the meeting, we have no idea what's in this letter, but Rand Paul, being a complete cuck for Donald Trump, sends a personal letter from the president to Russia, and he traveled to the Kremlin to deliver this letter. And Rand Paul's comments about Donald Trump's betrayal of America, when he said that Vladimir Putin had no reason to meddle and influence the election, I suspect Putin of no wrongdoing. Well, look at this, with these shocking comments from July the 16th. He says he absolutely stands by Trump after the Russia summit and blames the outrage on his fallacious Trump-derangement syndrome. Now keep in mind, when he does not want to argue here, and he accuses all of our rightfully outraged constituents about Donald Trump's lack of taking initiative to stand up against Vladimir Putin in his attempts to influence elections in the West, in the United States. He has funded far-right candidates like Marine Le Pen, and all of this is happening. It is because Vladimir Putin wants to destabilize NATO so he can attack the West. Use common sense, people. Don't be a retard and connect the dots, and don't succumb to the conditioning. Logical fallacy, ad hominem, attack the people rather than the argument. He is learning bullying tactics from Donald Trump and all of his friends in the mob in Russia and New York. And I bet he has connections with the Italian mafia as well, Donald Trump. Trump-derangement syndrome, really, Senator? Funny how your name, gematria, lines up with Russia. You're a complete puppet by the numbers. And John McCain here, he said he is now working for Vladimir Putin. March the 15th of 2017, Rand Paul blocked an attempt to vote on a treaty for NATO membership for Montenegro. So we have Trump saying, oh, let's not give our money to NATO. Let's not help our allies in the West be protected from invasion from Russia. Let's do what Vladimir Putin wants, what's in his best interest. And that's what the puppet did back in 2017. Heck, he was a puppet as far back as 2017. And I still had respect for the guy back then. So he was a big fraud right from the beginning. He's a big shill. And right here, this article here, next logical fallacy. Rand Paul on the Russian election meddling. Oh, we all do it, argumentum ad populum. That does not excuse what we're doing, but why are you giving excuses to Russia by saying we're all doing it? So you're deflecting from their influence over what should be democratic elections in America. But he defends Russia. He defends the place where his idol Ayn Rand is from. Senate affirms support of NATO. It is Rand Paul that votes no because he's now a cuck to Donald Trump. And deep down, Rand Paul loves Russia. And Rand Paul wants to be part of the big club. Well, when you support a bunch of crooks, it's not going to work out for you at the end, and that's really the weakness of Rand Paul, and not showing any back spine by trying to save the Republican Party from Donald Trump. So Rand Paul goes along with the dismantling of the West, of NATO, of peace in Europe, which is what NATO has done, which prevented any major war in Asia, and he wants it to fund it. So he's a puppet of Russia. I bet you we can see some news about Rand Paul taking money from funnel donations from Russia to the NRA is going to come into light, and that article is going to be in the description tab. It was March the 15th, and this is something that I'm going to show to you guys at the end, but there's a video from RT America, and here he correctly labels Putin a bigger threat than the Islamic State. When their allies are in direct attack from the east, he is completely right about Vladimir Putin. Putin is taking the backing of the Zionist bankers. It is the Islamic State that's taking money from a bunch of other groups in the region, including America. But it's Russia that's going to be World War III, not ISIL in Syria. But he is completely right about the senator, and I showed you why he is completely right about Rand Paul. And he is completely right about him in his comments from a year ago. In 2017, when you scale forward to 2018, he exposes Rand Paul's defense of Vladimir Putin, saying that no, we didn't meddle in the election, and Trump says, I have no reason to believe that Putin did influence in our elections. Right? Everyone does it. Everyone does it. McCain was right about the traitor Rand Paul. He stands for his party and the man in power, Trump, over his country. And John McCain was not a partisan voter in the Senate. He was bipartisan. That's what he was known as. He wanted to do what was best for the country. John McCain means well deep down. And that's why Senator Rand Paul is a complete joke, because he's living a virtual reality when it comes to Russia's influence to put a puppet in the White House to do what is in the best interest of Vladimir Putin. McCain was completely right. This is the warnings of a patriot in his death at 81 years of age. Donald John Trump equals 68. Oh, Rand Paul, you don't belong in this stage. Like, get out of here. Like, who would defend a guy that said you don't even belong on stage? And Rand Paul is suddenly defending Donald Trump for everything. The guy is a weak spine. He doesn't defend himself, and he is a complete bitch. Rand Paul is a bitch because of his cocking up to Donald John Trump. Both of these equal 68 in gematria. I will link an article about Donald Trump telling Rand Paul, hey, you don't belong on the stage, what are you doing here? And Rand Paul defends him and everything. Yeah, this guy is not fit to be president of the United States, Rand Paul. He should be nowhere near the White House or GOP campaigns. And Republicans need to run someone that's going to represent America. They need to stay away from Rand Paul, I tell you. Someone like John Kasich. Traitor Polsky, interesting, 190 and 64. Putin was 64 years old when Trump was elected. Donald Trump won. President Putin, 190. You know, John McCain votes for his country. You know, his country, the capital of America, Washington, D.C. And you know, Rand Paul votes for pretty much everything that Donald Trump wants right now. And you would see this in his voting record. That's what's happening right now. McCain was right about Senator Paul in gematria equals 124. The amount of time for McCain's his comments on March the 15th back in 2017, March the 15th of 2018, the amount of time from that day to the Helsinki summit, 124 days. And it is, in gematria, the practice of coding letters in words into numbers. In gematria, it is, McCain was right about Senator Paul equals 124. 124 days from his comments to Rand Paul in the Senate to July the 16th is 124 days. John McCain was right about Senator Paul equals 144 in gematria. 144 gematria is the mark of the beast. Mark of the beast, 144. He was completely right about Rand Paul being a puppet to Russia, being compromised by Russia with his campaign donations. And he was completely right. In that video, he told Rand Paul that you are achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin. You are achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin, Senator. You're achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin equals 2016. 6 times 6 times 6. 666 is the mark of the beast. It is 6 times 6 times 6 that equals 2016. Trump was elected in the year 2016. Without the zero, the digits are 2, 1, and 6. That's what this election symbolizes. That's what it symbolizes. You're achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin in reverse ordinal equals 666. That's exactly what's happening here. I will be the one that will have to expose the deep state if, the Dems are busy about, other things, race and all this, and we have Republicans worried about something else, whether it is, I have to root for the party like it's a sports team. And whatever I don't believe, it's not real, because Trump and Giuliani told us so. There was no collusion, and then collusion is not a crime, so you're seeing how the liars have been exposed here. The 25th day, McCain died. It is Trump that equals 25. The day that he made this warning, March the 15th, is significant because there were 73 prior days to March the 15th. It is President Putin. It is World War III that equals 73 in gematria, as he showed you guys already. That is what his comments in the Senate floor on March the 15th are all about here. This Senate speech from McCain on March the 15th is just so significant. How many days was it from March the 15th to Vladimir Putin's birthday? October the 7th, also the day that Fox News was founded. 207 days. 207 days. Rand Paul votes for in gematria equals 207. He votes for the interests of Russia versus the interests of America. He is the definition of a traitor. McCain was right about in gematria, in simple gematria equals 207. Never mind that he happens to die at 81 years of age and he stops his treatment. He fears the worst, and he does not want to live to see the worst because he knows the effects of war right now. He does not want to see a great war come to be. That is the significance of 207 days from McCain's speech to Vladimir Putin's birthday. He was right about Russia. He will be right. His death was a warning sign of what's to come here. All this, I assure you, is not by coincidence. How about the amount of time from that day, his speech in the Senate floor, to his death date? It's got the 164 in it, 164 days when you include the end date. Putin, 64 years of age during the election. That's what I take away from this. McCain turned 81 years old. I like to see the amount of time from his birthday to the day that he died, if it reveals any significance, why he stopped his cancer treatment. That was 4 days before his birthday, right before he turns 82 years old. Served as a U.S. Senator from the year 87 to his death. Right? Russia, John McCain was right. That's the significance of 87. August the 29th, he was born. 29 plus 8 equals 37. John McCain was meant to warn America about World War III. This is something too. This is something too with John McCain. It's that collusion equals 39, and Arizona in gematria equals 39, my home state. I don't agree with everything McCain does in his politics, but at least he was a bipartisan voter. He was not a partisan voter, that's for sure. There's a gematria. So here I will show you guys once again my home state, Arizona, 39, and collusion equals 39. Now how about the meeting? The Trump Tower meeting on June the 9th it was, till the death date. Achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin, how about that March the 15th Senate floor about Rand Paul's vote against adding Montenegro to the EU. Look at this. 87 days from the day that McCain made that revelation on March 15th of 2017, or the date in 2018, the June the 9th, is a time span of 87 days. Once again, in gematria, John McCain was right, equals 87. Russia equals 87. Collusion with Russia equals 87 is 87 days on March the 15th, the day McCain made the Senate floor speech, to the day of the Trump Tower meeting, and this is in any year sequence. Now how about June the 9th, the meeting? The collusion that happened on that day on 9-6. John McCain was right in gematria equals 96. The meeting was on the 9th day of the 6th month. The Trump Tower meeting, right? August 25th, the day that McCain died. The amount of time from the meeting to the day that he died, you don't include the end day. Notice that it's 2 months and 16 days, a lot like 216, the mark of the beast here. 11 weeks. 11 is a number of death. You think about the Twin Towers, the two standing towers. 9/11 was an inside job here. The amount of time from the meeting till McCain's death. 11's a big number of death, people. I tell you, that is not by design. How about the day that, the Russians hacked the DNC emails to today's date? Okay, 34 and 35, I don't see much, but this is how you do advanced numerology. You're achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin, March the 15th, and we see that they hacked the DNC servers, right? This kind of date has a lot of significance with dates of key events in the build-up to the next Great World War. I'm sure there's 129 in my calculator. I think I've said all that I need to say here. Videos will be linked to the description. John McCain telling that, GOP supporter that no, Obama's not a bad man, he does not speak ill. But McCain is misguided when he wants to support every war. He may take money from the military-industrial complex, but he may mean well, but he just may be misguided when it comes to, intervening in every conflict that might result in military action. But he is right about Russia, and the guy is a patriot and a veteran, and he means well for America, unlike a draft dodger. And a guy who's never served in his military, Rand Paul. And the thing with Rand Paul is that, Obama is of course in the thug, all this, but Rand Paul votes to increase our deficit to $1 trillion in 2019, so the guy's a hypocrite. Those links will be added to the description as well. Thank you for watching my presentation of John McCain's warning to America. His death at 81 years of age. Your warnings will not be forgotten, Senator.